and welcome back to another Artifact Corner. Today we will be looking at two inkwells from the 19th century. These two pieces would be considered traveling inkwells given their small size. They would be easy to pack and travel with. Both are made of dark hardwoods. The first is made of walnut with a glass liner to hold the ink. The second is also a dark hardwood with a mother-of-pearl disc set in the center of the topper. The second one is missing the glass lining on the interior. This is unsurprising, as the glass liners can often fall out and break. Let's take a look at the fascinating history of ink. So, what is ink? Ink is made by taking something to create the color and mixing it with an oil or water that would allow the color to blend nicely and adhere to the surface that was being written on. Ink for writing was developed by both the Egyptians and the Chinese at roughly the same time, about 4,500 years ago. The Egyptians would make their ink by blending charcoal with a type of oil. This is why most inks you see from the time period were black in color. Most Egyptian writings have black text for the body of the document, with red ink for the headers or key words. Charcoal and other carbon-based inks were inexpensive to make and made them fairly accessible. Other colors were harder to come by and therefore used sparingly. The Egyptians used reeds that they carved a stylus on the end of as their pens. The Chinese also used carbon-based dyes. They typically mixed the dye with an animal glue and sometimes even added incense or other scents to the ink. The mixture would be dried into sticks. Some of these sticks could be elaborately decorated, as we see here. The stick would be ground against an inkstone, and then a small amount of water would be mixed into it. The ink would then be applied to the paper with an ink brush. By the Middle Ages, the scribes and scholars were looking for ways to improve the ink they used. In this time, there were dozens of recipes for what was known as iron gall ink. An iron gall is formed when a gall wasp lays its eggs in the bud of an oak tree. A round gall will form around the larva, and when the wasp is ready, it will bore a hole in the gall and fly away. The gall is now ready for harvesting. The gall contains tannic acid, which when combined with iron sulfate creates a strong black pigment. The only downside to this ink is that it is corrosive, and over time can eat through the paper it is written on. If you'd like to try your hand at making gall ink, here is a 13th century recipe for ink made with gauntlets. The preparation time for this recipe is about 3 days. Step 1. Take a pot and fill it with 8 pounds of rainwater. Step 2. Add half a pound of small gallnuts, crushed. Step 3. Put the pot on the fire and boil until the water with the gallnuts is reduced by half. Step 4. Take 3 ounces of gum arabic and grind it. Step 5. Add the gum to the mixture. Step 6. Boil until reduced by half again and remove the pot from the fire. Step 7. In a separate pot, take 4 ounces of vitriol and 1 pound of warm wine and mix them. Step 8. Add the mixture little by little to the ink while stirring. Step 9. Leave to rest for 2 days. Step 10. After the 2 days, stir the ink every day 4 times a day with a stick. And now your ink is ready to use. Modern inks have actually transitioned a bit back to its early roots. Today, the primary pigmentation is also carbon or soot-based colorant. Unlike the earliest inks, today we have a bunch of additives in the ink we use, including drying agents. Our inkwells are in very good condition. The wood has developed a nice patina from being handled for over 100 years. We are so lucky to have these beautiful pieces in our collections. Thanks so much for stopping by.